Creatures of the Night, one of the first reviews I uploaded on YouTube. I was 18 years old. I was an 18-year-old kid, first year of college, and I decided to come home and record myself talking about Sons of Northern Darkness. And now, look where I'm at. 3 years later, still rolling. But back in the day, I used to talk a lot more about black metal. I used to do a lot more classic albums when it comes to reviewing. I'm a huge black metal fan. I've said this in my past videos from way back. I'm a very big fan of black metal, and Immortal is truly one of my favorite black metal bands of all time, next to Darkthrone and Mayhem. I think Immortal is one of the essential bands in the black metal subgenre that truly allowed listeners to take black metal seriously as its own thing. Immortal was one of the bands that took black metal above the horizons into its unholy kingdom of greatness. If you haven't seen my review of Sons of Northern Darkness, check it out. It's on my channel for sure. And it's what I call classic JD. But today I plan to continue my reviewing of Immortal's albums, as it has been requested. And I'm going to be reviewing all of Immortal's albums, but I'm going to start with this one here, which is one of my favorite black metal albums of all time, next to Sons of Northern Darkness. This one is At the Heart of Winter. Many people can say that At the Heart of Winter was the album that ascended Immortal into eternal greatness. You can argue that Sons of Northern Darkness and Pure Holocaust share that same title, but many people view this album to be their absolute peak. I personally thought this album was just fucking perfect. Immortal released this album in 1999 and came out at a time where black metal didn't really have much going on. There's the original stuff from the early to mid-90s, and then there's this little space, and then there's the new age of black metal in the early 2000s. And in that little space, there was this void of obscurity for black metal. But then Immortal released this album, and it came out at a very good time. Talk about perfect timing, because it received a great reception. If there is one word I could use to describe or summarize this album, if I only had one word to talk about this album in its entirety, that word would have to be cold. This album is cold as fuck, and I love it. You feel this cold emptiness through the music they deliver, especially in songs such as Solarfall. This song is fucking perfect. It has a perfect mix of atmosphere and coldness, which progresses into heavy, badass guitar riffs that give you chills and make the hairs on your arms stand up. And that's one thing I love about this album. There's so much fucking progression, and they do a perfect job at keeping you through this journey, through the flaming riffs to the cold, shivering atmospheric soundscapes. This album has so many things to look forward to when listening to it. When I first heard this album, I was younger, and as a kid, this is definitely one of the albums that got me really invested in black metal. My personal favorite song on this album was the intro track. I always say the intro tracks are important to me because it kind of gives me like a sneak peek of the epic journey I am about to soar through with greatness. And this fucking song, when I popped in the CD and pressed play and heard this song, I thought, holy shit, this album is going to rectify eternal greatness. And that song is Withstand the Fall of Time. It once again has a combination of the flaming heavy guitar riffs that are frozen over through moments of cold, dark atmosphere and obscurity. But one thing I absolutely loved on this song was the guitar solos. The song definitely focuses on making the guitar work stand out, and it focuses on making this song something to remember for the ages. Abath is a phenomenal vocalist and showcases his absolute best performance on this album, especially with the song Tragedy Blows at the Horizon. Not to mention, it's one of the longest tracks on this album. I think it's up there for sure. Which also points out another thing that this album does a great job with, that is the lyricism. The lyrics really get your mind invested in the music, and it plays a huge part in everything else going on this album. This album is honestly, this album is pure black metal. It's, if you want to say it, it's true black metal, and it's truly a landmark for black metal and a sparkle in the diamond of greatness. The only thing this album could have improved on was the production of the recording quality, but who gives a fuck? I'm not going to let that bring down how good this album is in any way, shape, or form. It is truly Immortal's absolute best work, and if you're going to get into Immortal and black metal in general, uh, or are fairly new to the subgenre, I strongly suggest adding this album to your essential collection. Like I said, I'm a huge Immortal fan, and I'm going to review more of their work in the near future. Be sure to check out my review of Sons of Northern Darkness from way back in the day. I'll even make a playlist of all my black metal album reviews. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Rock on.